Yes, we are going to be talking about the most significant development, probably, not probably, but is the most significant development in the history of radar detection protection. And with that said, let's hear from our president and CEO, Mr. John Larson.
So here we are, ready to launch the best radar detector product in our history. I'm thrilled to announce the all-new Passport Max.
High definition radar detection performance. What does that mean? That means we're going to give you the quickest response time, which gives you greater sensitivity for superior range, better than anything that we've ever done. Along with that, which is always a trick, is to be as accurate as you possibly can with the signal recognition, and that allows us to filter out some of the stuff that you don't want to be annoyed with, which are automatic door openers and some of the other noise. Like I said, it took a team of people to do this. We're very relentless when we do product development to make sure it's right before we launch. And there were a lot of caveats here, making it work with Escort Live, going through all the scenarios to make it just the ultimate solution in whatever scenario our customers want to use it in. Once we do that conversion, it allows us to detect a buried signal that could be masked by RF noise or other things that are out in the world that the detector sees. Once we detect that, we can identify what it is a lot quicker through this process. Instead of waiting for that signal to rise above the noise, if you will, we're able to basically go in and look at the signal within the noise and provide an alert if it's real and ignore it if it's not. And that's kind of a simple way of saying what DSP does for us.
So I'll answer a couple questions. There's a lot of questions coming in here about the range. From Edward Seymour, just like tons of people about the range. So let me just kind of address that first. Before I left to South Dakota, we have a road just south of Wickenburg. It's called Vulture Mine Road, and this is where we do our annual tests. This is where we did the radar detector shootout with the guys at LiDAR back in 2007. And it's about a 10-mile road, and I took the red line. I took a Valentine 1. Now, I'll be totally honest with you. It's not the newest Valentine 1. It's their previous model to this one. I know they released a new one. I did not have that updated. And also, we took it up against the red line. Now, I ran out of road on the Max, so I really couldn't do an accurate test to exactly see how much further. But I could tell you it was much further. The Valentine 1 and the red line ran out of had plenty of road left. The Max, I probably could have gone maybe a couple miles further.
Was it faster than the Valentine?
And I'm going to address the speed here on my trip to South Dakota because that's probably a better example of that. Now, I think I one of the people I selected is a V1 groupie. Anyway, I know he's going to want to test this. I know he does have the latest V1 firmware. So anyway, when I get to announce the winners, I'm going to kind of defer to him to actually compare the range of the V1 with the newest software to the new Escort Max to get his honest opinion, because I think it'd be a little bit more unbiased coming from him because he's a V1 groupie. Ron, I'd just be totally honest with you. Oh, and then let me go back to the range. I picked you up yesterday from the airport, and this road, oops, I hit the microphone, the road out here, Carefree Highway. And it's basically a 23-mile road. Prior to me picking you up, again, I took the previous model of the Valentine red line, and I was able to accurately, kind of get a sense of how much longer range that the Max has. And I could say probably about a mile to 2 mile extra range than the Valentine 1 and the red line. So, Ron, you've blown me away on range. You've blown me away on speed, sensitivity, and everything like that. This is an outstanding radar detector, Ron.
Roy, coming from you, an independent reviewer, that means everything to us. So you would say the performance is significant as far as a level step in the change?
Ron, I could honestly say this, without a question, this is the best radar detector Escort's ever built.
Wow. Thank you.
Without a question. And I could say that, I don't want to upset all our V1 groupies that are on this phone call. But I'm going to say it. This is going to be a V1 killer.
I think we probably ought to address this, Tim. There are some questions that are coming up about KA band segmentation. As you know, we did an update to our Redline series, and so we're seeing this question pop up quite a bit. Do you mind discussing a little bit about the Passport Max and KA band segmentation?
Yeah, obviously the KA segmentation software or firmware we released a few weeks ago or a few months ago was a great hit. Everybody seemed to like it. The great thing about Passport Max and this particular platform is that it is so fast, it's actually better than KA segmentation on Redline. When we did KA segmentation in Redline, we're sweeping the entire KA band, and when you do segmentation, you're basically saying, look, I don't need the whole band. I just want to sweep around where the known radar frequencies are that are approved by the FCC. With this thing, because of its speed, we don't need to segment the band. It actually will still alert faster than a Redline in KA segmentation mode, if that makes sense.
But the Max has taken it to the max and even past the Redline. You'll see that we did do a private test with Speed Measurement Labs, and really, in that press release, it's going to detail, but the summary event is very simply this. Speed Measurement Labs has been testing radar detectors for 30 plus years. And when they went to test the Passport Max, 3 key test parameters that they measure were utterly shattered. One is for range. The longest test that historically had ever been done before we got to the STI on the Beltronics or the Redline on Escort side was a 9-mile range test. And then when we did the Redline, that caused Speed Measurement Labs, or SML, to find a range where they could go to 13 miles. Now, at 9 miles, most competitor detectors were already dropping a majority of the guns, but not the Redline. Then when they went to 13 miles, there were only 3 detectors that could really pick up guns with any significance, 2 of which could pick up every gun, and that was the Escort Redline and the Beltronics STI series. The V1 even had problems picking up all of the guns on K and KA. Passport Max, they were able to locate and find a range to where they could go to 15 miles. Other detectors simply cannot see to that range. The Passport Max had no problem seeing any gun that was tested in that private test. So on range, all records set, all records broken. I hope that addresses one of the questions or one of the areas for comparing.